I need to put my ears in. Hello, can we hear me? Looks like I could be live, but I'm not really sure. Okay, so what do we do? How do we find out if we're live? Because I can't see. Let's have a look, see if I can refresh. Refresh that. Because I'm actually. Well, it says that I'm live on Facebook, but I actually can't see whether I am live on Facebook. Hang on. It always was going to be the difficult bit, finding out. Okay, so, aha. I can, oh, thank you, Eva. Thank you, Carol. Okay, right, we're there. Good stuff. Right, well, only just 1 minute past 7, so that's not doing too badly, not doing too badly at all. Okay, so today, together with, I'm going to speak into 3 words actually, that come up a huge amount for us as dog trainers, but also for the dog guardians, the you guys that actually own the dogs. And we tend, as behaviorists and as trainers, we tend to get a little bit wordy, and we tend to go, well, you've got a reactive dog, or you've got oh, your dog's high drive, or your dog's got a lot of prey drive, and things like that start to go around in your mind, and it's difficult perhaps to actually understand exactly what's going on. Well, do I have a reactive dog, or do I have a high drive dog? Do I have a dog that's high prey drive? In which case, is that a bad thing, or is it a good thing? And I wanted to do a little bit of myth busting, and I didn't really want to do a big techie sort of sciencey thing, but you've got to touch a little bit on the science when you're dealing with stuff like this. So, okay, can we just check that you guys can hear me? Because I can't, I know there's about a 20-second lag, and I don't really want to go chatting along for the next however long it is that I get to chat to. I can see, okay, right, got a like from Carol. Thank you, good job. Okay, so reactivity. Okay, we're looking at, if we look at the dog, what do you generally see? And I'm going to just take an example. I have, I've got 4 dogs myself, and my German Shepherd used to be reactive. Okay, so she used to react to the environment when she was out, or she reacts to external stimuli, things that are going on around her. Okay, if I get a bit wordy, just tell me and we'll change it, and I'll, because I don't want to make it too wordy or too sciencey. So she used to react to stuff going on around her. And that would look like, I'm barking, she goes out and she has a good old bark at something. She thinks she can hear something, she thinks she can smell something, it's something that's different. I don't know about you, but my dogs have all started to behave differently. Coming out of lockdown, being in lockdown, coming out of lockdown, being in lockdown again. It's just a little bit of a nightmare. And so things have changed. And so she reacts to the stuff that's going on in the environment. Okay, so I could say, right, I have a reactive dog, but actually, on the scale of things, she isn't doing anything completely over the top. She's doing stuff that is reasonable for her because she doesn't know what's going on over the fence. She just hears something different. Okay, so if we then take it to the situation where we're going out with our dogs have got more excited, and we're taking them out, and there's another dog, and they start to bark and they start to lunge on the end of the lead and become so. The dog, as far as they're concerned, we need to look at what's going on to the dog. What is it what's the function? Why are they making that that noise? Why are they lunging? Why are they doing the stuff that they're doing? Now, is this is this basically are they frustrated? Are they um, are they trying to get towards the dog? Sorry, I just had a message and it just completely throws you. So are they trying to get towards something? Okay, in which case the lead is making them frustrated. Are they have they, as a puppy, for example, have they had the chance to go out and play with a whole load of other dogs and other puppies and stuff over the while they're growing up, and then all of a sudden we decide that they are not able to do that because it's not appropriate, because we don't always want them to do that, so we put them on the lead. So the dog says, oh, hang on a second, I'm getting a bit frustrated by this, because I always used to get the idea that I'd go off and play. So it becomes a situation where we need to look at what's going on for the dog. And if we go back to the dog park again, and we start to look at that behavior, and we've got a young dog and they've been used to being off lead and playing, and play is basically about practicing predation. Okay, it's about them being able to chase after something and then be chased and then chase after again. It's all the practice stuff for I'm just having a little look to see, just wondering if we okay, this seems to be okay. I've got, yeah, it's all right. It's just I'm getting worried about whether people are able to see me or not. It's all a little bit weird because you're just sort of sitting and not okay. So we're back to the dog park again, and the dog gets frustrated, and then you sort of take it home, and then the next day your dog's getting a little bit older and it hasn't had a chance to play, and then we go into another situation where they become just a little bit under socialized. At some stage we're looking at another dog, okay, and be under socialized, because I don't want to get into the too much and too little. I can always look at that again at some stage. But we then start to think about whether we the dog is starting to become potentially fearful of what's going on. So is it reacting because it's fearful? Are the arousal levels or the excitement levels, arousal levels going up? Do we have an overly full bucket? Are we, is the dog unable to process that environment well enough? And so what we get to do is we get to sort of look at what's going on for the dog. But what we've also got to understand is every single dog has what's called a predatory action sequence. It can be a predatory motor sequence. It's basically a hardwired innate response, which innate means it's hardwired. It means it's in the system, basically, as per the genetic need. Okay, so man has created a collie to do a job. Okay, so his motor sequence, or his predatory motor sequence, will start something like eye, because he'll look, stalk, crouch, chase after the sheep, grab. Well, they don't grab, but they can just grab and then sort of move into the sheep. The continuation of the motor pattern would be grab, bite, dissect, grab, bite, kill, bite. But you don't have that in a collie, because you can't have a collie going around grabbing hold of the sheep and then hanging onto it. But if we were to look at, every breed has different parts of that predatory motor system, or that predatory motor pattern, that is more enlarged and more important depending upon what their job is. So I've also got working cockers, okay, working cocker spaniels, okay. They tend to use their nose before they use their eyes. So their trigger for their eye stalk, for their pattern, will be to smell something. And so they would smell it, and then they would look at it, then they would see it, then they would stalk it, then they would chase it. They don't do a lot of stalking, but you know what I'm saying. And then they go out and then they get it. Now, where their bit is, because man wants them to go out, get it, grab it, bring it back, they have to have the grab, bite, the possession, okay, and then to bring it back. And then instead of dissecting and consuming, because that would make them a pretty rubbish gun dog, they then have to give it up. And so if you can see, there's a pattern. The dog blueprint would have had the entire eye, stalk, chase, grab, bite, dissect, consume, because it's the hunting, it's the predatory motor pattern. What we have now we've bred different parts of that motor pattern. We've cut it off for certain breeds and we've enlarged it for other breeds. And so we've got a parade now in the gun dog, and also in some of your working dogs, you will get, I've got this, I'm going to run around hanging onto it. Okay. And so this motor pattern is where we get the drive. Some dogs are really, really dead keen to do that job of work. Okay. Some dogs, not quite so much, but other things will make them, they will have a smaller version of. A pug, for example, he isn't going to be eye stalking, chasing anything anytime soon, but he will look for something, grab it, possess it, and be with his person with it, because that's what pugs are bred to do. So what's the problem? Well, actually, there can be a bit of a problem when actually it starts to go wrong. So we go back to the dog park, and I've got a young German Shepherd because that's the breed that I love and tend to work with the most for my sins. And we basically, we've got our young German Shepherd, and he's been allowed off the lead and he's playing quite happily. And then all of a sudden, this Cocker Spaniel comes along, and this Cocker Spaniel is on a mission, and he's off doing his thing. He's chasing his ball and he's going and hell for leather, because that's generally what Cocker Spaniels do. And that German Shepherd goes, oh, I stalk, chase. Oh my gosh, I'm going to keep on chasing and chasing. And oh, actually, this feels really, really good. And this is what's called predatory drift, okay, where they drift into predation, and it stops becoming play, and it stops becoming something that they manage, and it starts to become this chemical wash that comes over them, and they can't stop. Okay, and that's where your predation starts to become a problem, because by the time you've caught your dog and you've brought him back under control, he's gone, oh my God, that was so good. Can we go and do it again? A bit like when you come off a roller coaster, you think you're going to die, you get a wash of adrenaline, and then you get off and you go, and all that dopamine goes back in your system, and you go, woohoo, let's go do that again. Okay, so next time you go to the dog park, your German Shepherd's going, okay, I'm having a little wander. Oh, we're here. They've remembered where they were. Oh, look, there's a dog I can chase. And just by starting that first part of the motor pattern by the eye bit, it then anticipates the rest of it. Oh, that means that I get to eye and stalk and chase and grab bite and sorry, eye stalk and chase and chase and chase, and all that chemical and all that stuff is really wonderful. Oh my gosh. So it becomes on its own incredibly rewarding. So you then suddenly think, oh my gosh, I've got this monstrous dog, because you put the dog on the lead. Obviously you don't want them to, next time you go, well, I'm not going to let him off because he's going to cause a bother. So you have him on the lead and he says, I want to go, and you say, no, you can't go. So then you get barking, lunging, reacting, barking, lunging, reacting. I'm really fed up. Nash, gnashing on a lead, and then dogs start to go past, and you go, oh, hang on a minute. And the fact that your dog is actually starting to do that will also create additional stuff in the system, which also will make them excited, which also feels pretty good. And you almost get, sometimes with some breeds, you get almost like an adrenaline type junkie, an adrenaline type loop. So for my sins, I have 4 dogs, 2 of which are working cockers. 1 is a working Labrador, and 1 is a German Shepherd. And the German Shepherd comes from a long line of 30 odd years where I've been breeding and exhibiting over the years. Not now. She's the last of my line. And why would I want something that works so hard? Why would I want something that actually naturally wants to go and hunt? Well, actually, I want to be out and doing. And so we can use parts of that motor pattern and allow the dog to work with us. So my lab, I at the moment, well, when we're allowed, compete in agility. And it's great fun. And they get to predate. They get to chase. Because what we do is we teach them how to chase after to a certain extent after a reward, which they gain at the end of doing an agility round or doing, but you start by getting them just to do one thing for you and then getting the reward. And that reward isn't necessarily a treat. That would be a chase of something small and furry that we have bought from the pet shop, okay? Because not got from the tree, we're not going to use a squirrel, we're going to use a tuggy. Okay, I'm just looking, is everybody all right? We're just making sure. Okay. So you start to be able to reward your dog with what it wants at the time. Okay, so we build up relationships, and a relationship is a really well used word at the moment, but actually it's incredibly important. And I think it's all a question of balance. You get to give your dog what your dog needs at the time, providing it's appropriate. So whilst chasing dogs in the park isn't what we want them to do, or being reactive whilst they are in the park, remove them from the park, and in a different situation, you then start to teach them how to play chase games with you, for example. So they give you a little bit of something. So they give you a little bit of hand touch, or a little bit of heel work, or a little bit of eye contact, and your reward is you can chase me with a tuggy, and then when you get the tuggy, you have a pull. Okay, so what other breeds enjoy a tug? For example, terriers love, they will grab and they will shake and they will, you know, all that sort of stuff. So that sort of game you can play quite happily under control, or give them something to hold to alleviate some of the frustration, and then redirect. You know, you can then sort of they then sort of grab hold of that. It sort of gets them to calm down just a little bit. You let go. You teach a high-low type game. You teach yes, you get to play rough, you know, grabby games, and then you let it go, and then they can have, then they just sort of calm down for a little bit, and then their reward for. So there are lots of things that we can do as owners to help our reactive dogs who are perhaps wanting to do the things that make them feel good in situations where it's not appropriate. If we get them to feel good in other situations, in other environments, at home, then we sort of build up that relationship. We build up their work, wanting to work with us, and then we take it on the road. We take it out and we do stuff whilst we're out. I've found with shepherds and with other herding breeds that they love to move. If you decide you're going to say, right, okay, my dog is now barking, so I'm going to stop my dog from barking by making him sit and making him focus on me. It's not going to work. Not going to work. It's a bit like a jack-in-the-box, because you're not addressing the emotion that's going on underneath. And that's where you have to think, what's he doing? What's he wanting to do? He wants to move. He wants to move after that thing. Okay, let's take him forward a little bit and then turn him around and take him over that way. And then, yay, we can reward him for being with us. Okay, rather than saying, I'm going to shorten up my lead, I'm going to increase the frustration. I'm not going to address the emotion that's underneath. So think of jack-in-the-box. You take your hand off the top of the jack-in-the-box, and what's going to happen? That's just going to go straight up and, you know, explode again. So what we need is to be able to use some parts of the predatory active sequence to reward the dog at the moments that we need them to, that they need the rewards from us, and basically it makes them feel good, and we're able to redirect and go about our business and start to sort of bring them down. But traditionally, the way is to stop, prevent, and things like that. But we need to work with the dog. Now, we can also use food. We don't have to use tuggies. So we get them to use their nose. So if you have a dog that reacts while you're out in the street, and so you want to maintain a degree of control. What I enjoy doing is actually bowling one or two little bits of treats along the ground, bowling, and just keep on moving. Make sure your distance is far enough away. You've got them over the other side of the road, so come on then, let's go and play find this. Let's go and play find this, and you just bowl some treats along the road, along the ground, and they can then sort of go snuffling along after. Now, you're probably going to say, oh, my reactive dog doesn't take food while we're out. Okay, so that means their arousal levels have got to a stage where it's no longer safe to take food. Okay, so what we get to do is assess where we are and say, right, my reactive dog can't take food here. Okay, let's go further away from that stimulus. Okay, and then see what we can do to give him what he wants at that time. Okay, so whether that be movement, whether that be searching for something, whether that be playing with their ballie, whether that be, I don't know, think about things. Actually, some dogs thoroughly enjoy digging, and so we go on the beach, and I tend to drop some treats on the sand, and then the dogs start to sort of have a little dig, and it makes them feel good. And it's something that you also can do at home in your garden. You know, set up a little sandpit or something like that, so that your dog, if you've got a terrier, hide some treats in there, they can have a little sort of dig around. There's going to be things that you can do to help your dog perform the things that they need to perform to make them feel good, so that when they get in situations where they would start to react, you can go, right, you know that game you like, let's go do that now. So you get an overlap with reactivity and prey drive, and it's a prey drive has become a word, or a couple of words that can mean a lot of different things. And what I want to take away from this today is just, it's about what goes on in the dog, and what each individual dog values, and what each of the handlers value is what you'll get out. Though there will be predation that we do not want, sadly, in some dogs that are bred to bite, as in bite other dogs or fight. We don't necessarily want that. We don't want that, because their predatory sequence is basically I grab, bite. That's it. Now, there's no real place in, I don't want to be breedist, because I don't want to, but if you've got a dog that really enjoys doing that, it's blooming hard work to actually keep it safe, keep other dogs safe, and then also give it the things that it needs additionally, to make it feel safe. So that's a really sort of dark area, and it's not typical. If we think about our typical dogs and what they're bred to do, in the main, we can give them the things that they need to make sure that they get the right chemical balance in their brain, so that they then feel less and less reactive. Okay, it's, oh, hang on a second. Now then, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, so I think it's, if we think about the different breeds that we have, so let's have a look at some questions. Okay, so Collie Husky Malamute can't do agility. He can't focus and process things logically with high intensity. He's a rough player and can have strong prey drive. So I try to use this as his ball is high value. Okay, so never underestimate the power of acclimatization. Any dog that is unable to work in a certain environment, providing you get to go to those places and to do those things and start to play the games that they enjoy. I'm not going to say games necessarily, because it's not games, it's just interact with them in a way that you know that they like, by throwing food about, or by using a ball, and use a ball as a reward. So you give me some eye contact, you give me some heel work, you give me some hand touch, you give me something, and then I'll lob the ball in your mouth, or I'll just drop the ball and you pick it up and give it back to me. If you're in a small area, you know, you haven't got to fling it for miles. So yeah, you so what you do is you actually want to be able to say this thing that you really enjoy doing. If you do something for me, then you get to do the stuff that you enjoy too. We get to do the stuff that we enjoy together. Okay. If you just hang on a moment, I just need to. Just looking at the time. I've been chatting away for half an hour. Gosh. Okay. Give me some questions, because I'll have about 20 seconds whilst you guys think of a question or something like that. And if there's anything I can help with, or if there's anything you need further clarity on, then just give me a little shout. But basically, okay. Oh, lovely. Well done. Okay. What about a cue to redirect and refocus? Oh, right. Lovely. I love that. I use a positive interrupter. And when we went into first lockdown, I taught thank you. And it's brilliant, because even though I do say so myself, it's, so what you do basically is you prime a word. So so it's thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You can have this. There is a video somewhere. I can always put in the link. But thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Which I'm feeding, by the way, and we're not anywhere. Then you move away a little bit, put the food down. Thank you. Then they come back to you to have it fed. You put the food on the floor again. You walk away. Say thank you. They come. So then thank you means come over here to get it. Okay, and then the next stage would be they're outside, you're indoors, and you'll go, thank you, and they come in. So I taught this during lockdown 1, because my German Shepherd was going in the garden, bless her little heart, and say, there's everybody in the garden, there's everybody in their garden, and there's not usually people in their gardens, and it's really noisy because we had such a lovely summer. So I thought, oh heck, I need to be able to switch her off. And that's what I did. So now, instead of me going out there saying, quiet, don't do this, don't do that, I go out, I go out and I say, thank you. And she goes, bing, food. Okay, I'm going to come back in again and have that food. But you won't get that unless you prime it, and then you do. So you can have that, guys. You can. That's my super duper. I love using positive interrupters. Anything that you can distract your dog with, which means something different to them, is worth its weight in gold, honestly. And also, so if you're out, so let's take that a step further about redirection and moving. So you're going down the road, your dog starts to react, starts to see something. No, let's not say react. Let's just go, let's take it before that, because if you remember, we're going to go from the scent, or even, so you know, if you know your own dog and you understand what they do, what do they do first? Do they go, there's someone over there? Or do they go, there's someone over there? They will do something, okay? So when your dog starts to do what you know, when they're going to be, when they start to notice something, they might stand on their toes, their ears might stand up. They do lots and lots of different things, dogs do. And we all get to be we get to watch our dogs a lot, and making sure that we understand exactly what they're doing. So you're walking down the road, your dog goes, I think I see someone, and then you go, thank you, turn, he turns, you walk, you feed. Okay, so now you've got that thing whereby thank you means I'm going to turn towards you, and then we're going to go that way. Okay, and then this time you change direction and you go that way. Now, what you do following that will be dependent upon where you are in your training and where you are, where your dog is, how far you have to go away, all these things, how emotional your dog is, you know, whether you can whether you can refocus, go round, keep moving, and go back to you know, all that sort of thing. This is what I've been spending my time doing while we've been in lockdown, designing programs to do these sort of things. Okay. Okay. Okay, so which outlets or rewards would you use besides tugging for a terrier? Staffordshire Bull Terrier in particular, who likes to go into grab, bite, kill, bite, and then even dissect at the end of their sequence. Okay, so you get to be inventive with them. You get to give them at different times. You get either a tuggy, and a tuggy that they can dissect, i.e. a tuggy made of towel or something that they can tear. But in addition to that, you get them to practice that type of dissection in other ways. So they have bits of meat stuffed into a ball that they can pull out, or your Kongs that have got bits of meat that they can start to pull out, because that action again will be adding endorphins to the system, which will then make them feel good. They don't have to do everything at once. And it would be, I mean, if you wanted to do that, you could have a tug, and then they could kill it. And then inside it, you could have a food pouch or something like that. And then they could tear it open, and then in there would be some reward. Okay. So you could get inventive, but also you could bury a loo roll stuffed with bits of hot dog or something like that, or stick a loo roll in the freezer, stuffed, treat it like a Kong, bury it, so then they can get it, and then, oh look, I can tear this all apart and then eat it all, apart from the cardboard, but they would shred it. So get, you know, be inventive. Okay, what we're looking at. Okay. Yeah, you see, use an ABC reward depending on the distance and level of distraction. Absolutely. You get to use what your dog needs at the time. And that could well be, it needs food, it needs movement, it needs, one of my jobs when I'm working with people is, what does your dog love? What does your dog love more than anything? And that could be touch, that could be a rough and tumble with a staffy. It could be just, let's play pinchy pinch game. Let's just play, I love you, and then have a little tickle and move, tickle and move. You know what I mean? It's about what makes your dog's heart sing, because you know your dog, and you know, interaction with it. Okay, your lurcher can see us, see us switch from woo, play, woo, bouncy fun to chase. Have you anything similar with yours? Okay, yeah. You can see that you've got to be your chaser of small furries. You get to be, they do switch just like that. They go, hi, this is fun, and then all of a sudden, whoa, switch. I've got to go like blazes. And it's dead tricky, because you need to make sure that they can't do that. So you've got to say, right, okay, we have a little bit of that play, and then we bring it back, and then you get to chase me, because I'm going to run with a chaser, okay, a line with a furry on. Okay, so you have your, they have them for in agility. I've got one, several. So you've got a long line-ish, 3 feet, 6 feet, 5 feet, and then you run, and then the dog follows you. But you have your dog on a long line, because actually you need to be sure that you can bring your dog down again and notice it. You say, right, okay, you can go and play for this length of time, but only a really short amount of time, to make sure I keep the arousal levels down, so that you don't overreact, and so you don't go into predatory drift, which means that you come and chase me, and then we can then control it, and we can then bring it down, because you'll stop. And as soon as you stop and the thing dies, that will stop, that will cut off the sequence. So you stick your foot on it and you'll go, oh, where's it gone? It's not moving anymore, because predation is switched on by the movement of the stimulus. Okay, the movement of the sheep, the movement of the small furry when you're greyhounds hunting, you know, anything like that. It is the movement that sends the signal that says, I'm here, come and catch me. Okay. Okay. Okay, this is interesting. In rescue, occasionally we get a terrier that will bite heels as people walk away. Is this prey drive behavior? Okay, it depends what terrier it is. If it's a heeler, a Lancashire heeler, which isn't a terrier, then yes, nipping at, that's what it's designed to do. Okay. Any type of chase, if it's chasing something that is moving, the chances are it will be predation of some description, lesser or greater. So what tips for okay, give other outlets. Don't allow the dog to do that. Manage it, reward it and play with it and give it other things to chase, but don't allow the person to walk along and go, oh, you're biting my ankles, here, have this. Because therefore, biting ankles brings on game. So we've got to have, you watch person walking past, you watch person walking past, and therefore you're much more calm, you're watching, and I then release you to come and play tuggy with me. So you can snip, snip, snip and chase. So you redirect, but you don't reward. Be careful what you reward. You wouldn't want somebody walking around, as I said, dropping treats or dropping a toy to play with, when they nip after you. And it's the same with a collie that will go after you. It's the same with any livestock, not livestock, but any herding type dog that tends to sort of nip a little bit as they go. Yeah, daunting for any potential, but yeah, absolutely, they see it as aggression. So they're motion sensitive also. So again, they get rewarded for do mat games. Mat games, go to mat, reward going on the mat, nice and thoughtful, nice, and then the person walks past. In RDUK, we use quite a lot of care, C-A-R-E, and it's about desensitization. So the dog goes on the mat, the trigger goes past, you reward the trigger, you reward the dog ignoring the trigger or just watching the trigger, and then you can reward it with what it wants at the time, which is to go and chase it, go somewhere else. Okay, that's how I would do it. That's how I would do it. Okay, yes. Where is the balance between redirection and teaching them to relax and to choose to turn away? At the moment, we're trying to teach our reactive dog to stay calm, scatter feed, marking calm behavior when she sees dogs rather than distract her. How would you balance the two approaches? Okay. Firstly, Jenny, I don't use tuggy or toys or food as a distractor. It's usually as a reward after they've done something for me. So for example, I was just explaining with the terrier. So nice, calm behavior when you're watching whatever it is go by. Okay, thing goes by, mark it, reward it with a play. Okay, it depends also what emotional level your dog is at the time. If you want, and I'll come back to the Jack in the Box. I love calm behavior and I love thoughtful behavior. Absolutely. It is really, really important. But if your dog is really, really up, you haven't got a snowball's chance of getting calm behavior, not even sort of. So what we've got to think about is what we can use at the time, and you've got to prepare to be adaptable. My dog won't be able to function on. So when we're on the beach, my German Shepherd loves to skirt us. Okay, she goes round, she watches what's going on, she has a long line on so that she doesn't get to make any mistakes, and she skirts around. And if somebody comes along, I can do thank you, and everybody comes in. My 4 dogs all come and say, oh, Mum said thank you. With Roma, I'll take her lead and I'll move her in a circle, a small circle, just turn her around, just to keep her moving. Because if I put pressure on her to wait and watch, she couldn't cope. She has to keep moving because it keeps that just ticking over. She's quite calm. She's just going, I'm just moving, I'm just moving. But if I said, right, stop, wait, calm, sit, stay, and watch this go by, she'll go, I can't possibly do that. And then it will build up, a bit like a pressure cooker. So you have to look at the dog that you've got in front of you. Okay, that's where you balance them. Okay, I find most humans tighten the leash. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Just what I was saying just then. I find most humans tighten on the leash automatically, which creates the dog to react. We must be mindful of our body language as well. Absolutely, we must. Because in that situation, for years and years, well, no, not for years and years, the old ways of using equipment was all about stopping the behavior that you're seeing. Okay, so my reactive dog at the end of the lead, it became, not me, but the reactive dog at the end of the lead, it becomes, what do I get to do to stop them? Do I tighten the lead? Do I put different contraptions on them? Do I put different collars on them? Do I yank them? So we got to the stage where you would start doing more and more and more, you'd heap on more and more and more stuff. And in actual fact, that adds more and more negativity, more and more emotion to the dog. It becomes more and more stressful. So you end up being that sort of, I can't cope, and you're going up and up and up. The arousal levels, the excitement levels, the reactivity levels go up and up and up. So in that particular situation, I would definitely be mindful with my German Shepherd of making sure that she didn't feel as though she couldn't move. If we look at the 5 Fs, the fight, flight, fool around, faint, freeze of the stress responses, it doesn't take much to work out that a German Shepherd will prefer to move in flight when their stress levels go up. Okay, so you move your dog. So you don't tighten it up, because if you tighten it up, it can't get away, and so it'll get more and more aggressive, more and more angry. It will, the pressure cooker level will go up and up and up. So with this, you move them, you go, right, come on round, keep on going, and it just keeps them ticking over. Now that's not right for every dog, and that's not right for you pirouetting around at 90 miles an hour. But everything, when we're dealing with dogs that are displaying behaviors that we don't want, we get to look at what it is that they need. We get to look at what it is that we can give them appropriately. We get to look at how we can create as stress-free an environment as possible to allow them to acclimatize and to actually start to be more thoughtful. Okay, so that they can actually start to see what's going on. Okay. Okay. So Barbara, I have a dog who can't take treats outside. It makes rewarding his behavior quite clunky as I use his ball. Not eating doesn't appear to be related to the proximity to the stimulus. Okay. Try using quite a lightweight ball on a rope. And you just drop it into the mouth. Make sure that it's the length of you from you to your dog's mouth. So if it's a big dog, it's quite small. If it's a smaller dog, you've got quite a longer rope. So you basically have the ball, it just drops out of your hand, they get it, and then you can walk with them having it in their mouth. Okay, you've also then got no risk that the ball is going to roll somewhere else and you're going to lose control. Okay, that's how I use rewarding using a ball. And then you can also change direction and have a little game of tug with ball in mouth with rope. Okay, that's, you see a general increase in reactivity in GSDs, and what factors do you attribute this to? Oh, I see a general reactivity, a general increase in reactivity in all breeds, to be fair. I see a lot of German Shepherds because that's what I specialize in. I attribute it to mainly the way we live. And maybe we all need to think about what our dogs need a lot, and what they're designed to do, and how they cope. And a German Shepherd, and I'm just gonna ping into this, a German Shepherd starts to be more reactive much earlier on, as with collies. These dogs are bred with a genetic predisposition to recognizing threat. And so they have a negative bias. And dogs, so for me, it means you get to work harder to make them relax in the environment. And maybe some people just don't want to be able to work to do that all the time. Um, I've seen dogs that have had serious problems that their owners have worked really, really well, and it's been marvelous. And I've seen others that just go, "Oh, I can't be bothered." It's just not. So um, there is no general, and it's not hereditary, and it's not different lines. And you will have different bloodlines that are more able to work and want and enjoy to do a job of work more. They will be harder work. Um, right. Okay. Okay. Right. I've got to 5-2. Gosh, that was fun. Hasn't that gone quickly? Um, well, if anyone wants to drop any messages to me, by all means do. I really enjoyed doing this. This is the first time I've done my own Facebook Live. I've done it with some other people before, but I've never flown solo. So this is my first one. So thank you for being my first group. And yeah, so if you, there's some links there, RDUK, their links are there. If you've got a reactive dog, I'm one of the approved trainers. If you want to know more, my education was with Cope, and Cope really goes in depth into the emotions that are underneath the system that we're seeing. The stuff that's above the water, that's okay. The stuff that's underneath, that's what you need to get to, the emotions that actually make this. So I did my education with Cope, and also at the School of Hard Knocks, because I've been doing this for donkey's years. But okay, thank you everybody, and it's been really great to be here, and I hope to do it again. All right, bye now.